First and foremost, actually, we are Infinity Blockchain Ventures. We have office here in Vietnam with a company called Infinity Blockchain Labs with 300 blockchain developers, one of the biggest team in the region and in the world. The reason that we keep our lab team here in Vietnam because we want to leverage on the technology talents of Vietnamese developers. And at the same time, we have advisory arms in some other country, like I'm leading a field practice from Malaysia, but actually I'm Vietnamese actually. Then we have office in Japan, Hong Kong, China, Indonesia, Thailand as well. So our function is basically we bring blockchain solution for corporate clients, for government client, for enterprise who need the solution and everything, and we build the product and leverage on the tech team that we have here in Vietnam. Here are some of the product that we have. I think the product on the left is quite relevant for a lot of the trader in the room today. It's called Infinito Wallets. So Infinito Wallets is one of our first product and one of the best universal crypto wallets out there. So if you look to invest in different tokens family, different blockchain families, this wallet is actually one of the wallets that connect to all of the famous technology platform out there. So Infinito Wallets, this is already available on App Store, you can try it out. And this is our wallet is actually one of the airdrop leading community as well. So a lot of the project, the incoming project, the new project, when they want to onboard clients and let people try about new product as well as receiving bonus and everything, this is where they're gonna do it. So you just sign in the wallet, and during the campaign they just airdrop the token to you. So like free money in a way. Then we have this application called BlockPass. BlockPass is our KYC application that also being built together with a team here in Vietnam. So this is a KYC application that usually, like when you get on to trade at a crypto exchange site, you are required to do your KYC and everything. So this is one application that can be used for that. And then we also have WowTrace. WowTrace is a product that basically helping you trace whatever you need to trace. I have a few examples at later part so that you can understand better. So, and then this is Asia Blockchain Review. It's our media wing, and actually we have done a lot of events all around this region. So if you are keen to learn more about blockchain and the developments, the progress of blockchain around the Asia regions, just log into Asia Blockchain Review, and there's a lot of articles and news about blockchain and government, how do they involve and develop. So I see a lot of a bit of blank face today, so I think it's a bit late, but maybe I would like to try to ask how many of you in the audience actually know about blockchain. Raise your hand. Ooh. So I should speak more carefully, huh? Actually, a lot of people today know about blockchain, so I will go very quickly on this slide. So for people that are not familiar with blockchain, put it in a very short summary way of definition. Blockchain is a way of storing information and data, and sometimes this information and data represent a value. In this case, it can be Bitcoin, it can be any cryptocurrency out there that people given a value for it, and so it being traded and it's being demand purely based on demand and supply. And sometimes this data and information can be just simply information, which I will share some example on the smart cities later, where blockchain being used as a data information storage and how the flow and everything work. Yep. By the design, blockchain or not, the application should look about the same, just like any of the, like e-banking, the banking application that you use for your bank and everything. So the UI UX look the same. It's just that the underlying process and procedure of blockchain are different. And actually the end user, you don't have to worry too much about that. So if you take away one slide that speak about the character of blockchains that you should remember are these three things: transparent, security, and cost efficiencies. Transparent because if you're talking about public chain, whatever you do, whatever information you recorded, and every time you create a new block, that information will be keep track and show on blockchain. So there's nothing to hide about it. So it's very transparent. Security, security is in a way that the way that blockchain is being designed, it's not. A lot of people say it's unbeatable, but I think it's not. It's not like that, but it's close. It's close. So the way it's been designed, it's very high end in security layers and everything. So as long as you protect your own ID and your, let's say, password and everything, pretty hard for people to crack into a real blockchain account. Then cost efficiency. Cost efficiency is in a way that a lot of the automation in blockchain is being run by smart contract, and smart contract in just like its name, right? It's smart, and it basically it's replaced a lot of the operation, the middlemen, the control of human in the system, so that you remove and take away a lot of cost from the operation side. So it's reduced in the cost. Before I go to one slide that explain about the token economy, I would like to stay at this one slide. Basically, these are some of the pain points why a lot of the, why blockchain becomes such a big force nowadays because of these reasons. A lot of them are like, for example, lack of transparency, vulnerability into attack. And then intransparent system or something like that. So all of these issues can be solved in different ways and different angle by blockchain and different blockchain application that I will show some of the example later as well. So I would like to stay at this slide for one bit. It's nothing related to trading as the topic today of the conference and everything. But I think if you understand this slide, and whenever you try to buy a token or a company that have business that related to a token, if you understand these elements, it's easier for you to evaluate if the company is real, the token is real. Is that going to be a good value or not, right? So I wrote this myself, and so for the token economy, these are the elements of one token economy. So first and foremost, it's need to have a token. So again, a token in this case can represent a value, can represent a data information that flow between people in a network, right? One of the a familiar example for people in Vietnam about the tokens or the point or the loyalty, even though it's not on blockchain yet, is Grab points or Uber points or whatever ride hailing that where you're coming from, the points and everything. So you can use those points back into the merchant in the network and everything, right? But the thing is, right now most of those points, including Grab points in Vietnam, those are centralized point system, which means that it requires you to deposit or withdraw money via a bank. So you have to depend on the bank to basically getting money in and out of a system. It would not be the case for some other country, but for a country like Vietnam, bank doesn't work during the weekends. So if you want to deposit money into a system or something like that, you need to wait until Monday so that the money can come in your account or something like that. But if you build a point and a token system on blockchain, that's remove the dependency on the bank itself, right? Then you need to have the traceability function within your network as well. So it helps you to trace where's the money going to, where's the money coming from, and so on and so on. And again, I mentioned about token, so that's represent the data and it represents the value in the network as well. Then you need to have a wallet, and this is why we first created our Infinito wallets, because we understand that the wallet is the first touch point of any business with the token economy, right? So you need to have a wallet so that people can interact with each other, can send data, can send money, can send point, can send loyalty point, something like that. Then we need also have a KYC function in the token economy as well. So KYC is actually one of the biggest challenge for any government or enterprise to adopt blockchain at a better rate, because the worry from a lot of the government on this side of the globe is that I need to make sure that I need to understand who sending the Bitcoin outside of Vietnam, receiving Bitcoin in Vietnam or something like that. Because the way it's been designed today, you can't just send money to Africa, to Antarctica, wherever you want, just like that, as long as you have internet and have Bitcoin account. So you need to identify the KYC of the user, of the trader, of the investor. Then government will be more open to explore blockchain adoption, right? Then last but not least, smart contract ability. Basically, smart contract is a bunch of scenarios and situation that a network, based on the scenario, it will execute a certain decision. So it removes the involvement of human in the decision making, so that you have consistent in decision making, you have transparent in decision making, you have cost efficiencies in decision making, right? So these are some of the initial elements of the token economy. Next, I have 4 example on how you can do smart cities with blockchain. So the number 1 example is validation of certification and any sort of government paper and put it on blockchain. So again, this problem is not a challenge in some of the more developed country, but in country like Vietnam, country like Indonesia, the piece of paper that proves your ownership of something is basically everything. If you accidentally lost the paper, burn the paper, it's a lot of challenge for you to prove that it really belongs to you, and it's a painful process and everything. And at the same time, it's also your, for example, your education certificate, that can be protected by blockchain, and whenever you apply for a employee, you can just send your certificate to those employees, for example. So this example we already actually working on with some enterprise in Asia on this with our WildTrace application. Next is the digital identity. Again, like I mentioned in the previous slide, you need to have your ID verified and protected, because in country, for example, like in Africa, there's ID fraud. There's like people using ID for wrong purpose and everything. And because the form of ID is just a piece of paper or a card, it's very easy to get manipulated and can be like used for wrong purpose. But again, if you can manage your ID, your ownership in blockchain, and every time you need to go to the bank, every time you do something with government, all you have to do is just show a ID verification by blockchain or something like that. It speed up the process, and it's also protect your ID in a better way. Another example is smart voting for government. So as you already learned from previous slide, one of the biggest character of blockchain is transparency and fairness. So imagine that you put all of the vote, like into blockchain, and the final result being shown to, whoever need to see it and everything, right? But the voting is real time, and the result is real time as well, and no one can change about that, right? So for this example, actually we are also already working with someone in Vietnam to do for some competition to prove that smart voting or smart election can be used as well. But that's what the technology can do. But if for the government to choose to go with smart voting or smart election, that's another topic. Because if you choose to go into this direction, it means that you have to be super transparent with all of the voters, right? The Asian government, I mean, whoever governments want to do that or go down that road, I'm not so sure. Yep. The last example I have is this one is more on Islamic finance in a country like Malaysia, for example. When people doing charity or grants or foundation, it's follow the Islamic requirement. They have very strict requirement of how the money can be spent, in what area it can be spent and everything. Of course, you know, like these area, it can be done by a normal system, but again, it's require a lot of human touch point and decision-making levels. But all of that complicated stuff can be simply replaced and support by blockchain. And you know, again, you know, like when we're talking about tracking and tracing, it's one of the applications that we have in WowTrace. Oops. This one, one more example on Islamic finance, Takafu. So Takafu is basically, it's one of the Islamic financial product using for a group of people. So basically, let's say we are working in the same company all together. Each of us put in like $5 or even $2 in some developing country. And when something bad happens to me, like I'm passing away or something like that, the lump sum of the money will go to the deceased family or something like that. So it's one way of, you know, like Islamic people supporting each other. Again, this already taken place with the normal system, but under the current way of running things, it requires a lot of people and a lot of touch point, and all of this can be easily replaced by a simpler blockchain system. So I didn't put it on the slide, but let me mention it out here as well. So beside the product side, actually we are a service side company in the blockchain industry as well, which means that we do ICO advisory as well as STO advisory. We are actually a regulated company in one of the region, one of the country in Asia right now. So if you are a project that look to fundraise or explore that direction, please let us know as well. Thank you so much. Thank you.